Hi, welcome to Live with Chatty Cathy this Wednesday morning. We're still in the morning. So today I think we're gonna go with a few announcements, and then we'll get into what topic we're gonna cover today. I need to apologize. I put out there that the penny heron workshops, both of them were full. I hope y'all don't go through this, but I get to blowing and going, and I had looked at the wrong list. So we have all these lists going, and I looked at the wrong list. The evening workshop does have a few spaces open. So if you are really interested in doing that, we suggest you get signed up. The cost is $25. Penny Heron is a nationally known teacher, and she will be coming here to do several workshops and a lecture and trunk show. Quilty Bingo is floating along here. We still do have a few more bingo cards to give out. When you come in and make a purchase of $15, we will give you a bingo card. If you can play with more than one, so if you come in more often, then you can collect those. The first person that wins will win a Batik Fat Quarter bundle that's valued at over $75. And this is the bundle. I was going to show you last week and I forgot. Get in there and look at it. That's a lot of colors in there. Good quality fat quarters. So then for our kennel quilt work day, it will be October the 13th, and it will go from 10 to whenever we decide to stop. The Rolling Meadows has graciously said that we could use their conference room, that we used it last year, and so we will have a work day. We will donate all the batting, and we will try to get it cut in advance. That will save a lot of time. We'll get it cut in the various sizes. There's like extra small, small, medium, and large, and I think extra large. So we will get those cut. And what we're needing now is bodies to help and donations of 100% cotton fabric. So I would appreciate that, to collect that over the next few weeks. What we'll do is we will donate those to the Animal Services and the Pets organization. Pets does not that they necessarily house the homeless animals, but they do offer care such as spade and neutering and that sort of thing. And when they do the surgeries down there, they keep them in their kennels or crates, and they could use some of these. And then I guess when they go, they go remotely and pick up animals and bring them back to town for those that live in outlying areas, and they take care of them. So they could use these in the crates in the transportation. So we're going to do that again. And if you're not familiar with that program, it is Pet Finders, which is a national organization, and the Quilt Pattern Magazine that came up with the patterns. They worked in conjunction together. And what Pet Finders has helped with is when there's a natural disaster in the United States and people have to leave their homes, evacuate, and they can't take their animals, they're sent to shelters as close as possible, but a lot of times they're overwhelmed. So they get crates, they put the animals in the crates, and they stack them because they don't have enough floor space. So they donate the kennel quilts to be put in the crates for comfort for the animals. So that's what this program is all about, and we like to try to take care of our local entities by donating to them. So let's get started. What I wanted to talk to you about today is those that are new to quilting or want to be quilters and so on, and you're kind of overwhelmed and you really don't know where to start. Well, let's start with the basics. First thing, you need a good working sewing machine. It does not have to be a $5,000 sewing machine. I got to admit, I love fancy gadgets and I love fancy sewing machines, but for quilting, if it's a basic straight stitch, that will be enough to get you started. However, it needs to be in good working order. I've seen a lot of people go out and buy these cheap box store machines, and some of them are fine, don't misunderstand. Some of them work very well, but I've also seen a lot of them that do not work well. Nothing is more frustrating to a new quilter or someone learning to sew than trying to sew on a machine that does not work well. So just make sure it's in good working order. If you've inherited one or you have one stuck in the closet that has not been used in a long time, please take it to a dealer or someone that can service that machine and get it running in tip-top shape for you. You will be much happier, I promise. The other thing is new needles. A lot of people think that they never replace a needle unless it breaks. And I've had people actually tell me that. Needles are very inexpensive compared to the cost of a machine. So why would you want to make that machine work really hard with a dull needle? So let's see, we've got needles here. Let's take a look. Here is a package of Schmidt's needles. Let's see if I can get it off here. These are 14, so these are a little bit than 29 cents for a package of 6. No. So that's pretty inexpensive to keep your machine stitching well and not making it work so hard. So I always suggest a new needle especially after a big project. If you're working on a big project, you need to change that needle out. The other thing you're going to need is a cutting mat. Now there's tons of cutting mats out there. And of course, just like anything, you're going to get good ones and not so good ones. There's only one brand that I would tell someone to steer away from, and I'm not going to put this out there in a public forum, so if you really want to know what that is, you can call here at the shop and I'll tell you. I think they wear your blades out and a whole lot faster, and I don't even like cutting on them. They just don't even feel good. So you're going to need a cutting mat, and I would suggest to get the biggest one that you have the space to put it. In other words, you don't want to try to work on a small, really small cutting mat. Now the small ones are nice if you're doing small blocks and you're working with small pieces of fabric, or if you go to a class or something that you can take along. You might have a cutting table, you might have the space for that, you might be working on a kitchen, the kitchen counter or a dining room table or what have you. Try to get the biggest one that you can. Rotary cutters. Now there's, goodness gracious, there's sky's the limit. Get one that feels good in your hand. We use one here that we like. It's a Martelli, so if you learn to use it properly, because there is a right and a wrong way to use those, and a lot of people try to use them like they would a regular cutter. I should have brought one up here to show you, but it's when you use it and the way that you hold it, you're pushing out. So people that have shoulder and arm problems, it's good for people like that, but there's a lot of other cutters out there, and they're all relatively good. You know, the Olfas, the Fiskars, the Gingers, trying to think of what, Clovers, the Martelli's the one that I like to use, but they're all fine rotary cutters. Another thing is the blades that go in those. If you're going to start a big project, put a new blade in it. Now I can't say the blades are cheap because they're really not. They are pricey, but nothing frustrates me more than to pick up a rotary cutter and try to cut fabric and I'm having to go back over and recut because it's dull. So just, you know, when you see that it's not cutting properly or whatever, change it out. It'll avoid, and you do not ever want to cut your finger or anything with a dull blade. That's not good. So then you're going to need a basic ruler. Now there are hundreds of different rulers out there. Do not go out and buy every ruler you see. But a basic ruler such as, say, a 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler is a nice standard ruler to start out with. That will get you going, and then as you start working on projects and you see the need for rulers, then, you know, ask your friends, ask them what they like, and then buy them as you go, because this is not an inexpensive hobby. Unfortunately, it just, of course, I don't know too many hobbies that are inexpensive, but to buy good fabric and good working tools, it's not an inexpensive hobby. And then the other thing you're going to need is some good thread. Now, there's another thing. There's lots and lots of thread out there. There's lots of thread that you buy at the chain stores. Once again, I do recommend good quality thread, because the cheap thread is very, very linty. Sometimes it's not very strong. It will break on you. You don't want to take and clog your machine up with a lot of linty thread. And that's the other thing, always keep your machine cleaned out. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen machines that are packed full of lint. You spend a lot of money on those machines. You need to maintain them just like you would change the oil in your car. So you need to keep your bobbin area cleaned out with get a little soft. If you don't have a brush that came with your machine, use a often. You can kind of get down in there and get a lot of the lint out that way. Now, the thread that we like here, there's two different brands, long staple Egyptian cotton thread, and then the Aurifil. And we carry both of those. The Aurifil, we just carry the neutral colors, and the Superior, we do have a range of different colors for that. I believe it has 600 yards, 9, and the Aurifil is $14. Now, a lot of people come in and they look at the price and they immediately go, oh, this is cheaper. Well, it is cheaper, but the Aurifil, you have 2.5 times the thread on that as you do the Superior thread, which means you're getting 1,422 yards of thread. And it takes a long time to use a spool of that thread, but we don't carry stuff that we don't. That's really kind of the basics that I wanted to talk to you about today, and next week we'll continue on with regard to other aspects of quilting. So with that, have a great week and join us next Wednesday for Live with Chatty Cathy.